So last night, the Minnesota Twins and San Diego Padres, two teams tightly within contention for a playoff spot, faced off in a tense one. A back and forth ball game that the Twins were winning for the majority of the game. Bailey Ober, who has really impressed this season, continued to show off his brilliance up until the seventh inning. Maybe left in a bit too long, he faces Manny Machado, who hits a two-run shot to tie the game at 3. But that's no big deal, because the best hitting catcher since Mike Piazza, apparently Christian Vasquez, who's been on an absolute tear, hits this clutch two-run single to bring the Twins up 5-3. And then Steven Okert comes into the ballgame. Now, a quick dissertation on Steven Okert and the Minnesota Twins. So, the Twins famously did about nothing at the trade deadline. They're short on left-handers. Of course, Cody Funderburk, Caleb Thielbar, and Steven Okert has basically been their arsenal. Well, Cody Funderburk is hurt. Caleb Thielbar has been inconsistent. And Steven Okert maybe even more so. If you look at the stats, win probability added, based on that statistic, he's the third worst relief pitcher in all of baseball. Meaning he blows these games almost more than anybody else. And in a big spot in the 8th inning, that's who Rocco Baldelli gives the ball to. So the first batter, Twins alum Donovan Solano, a left-hander, yes, but much like the next batter in Luis Arraez, are both very good against left-handed pitching. Donovan Solano, he gets on with the single. Next up, Luis Arraez follows suit. He gets himself a single, all leading up to, well, one of the best players in the National League this year in Jurickson Profar, who carries one of the best track records against lefties, and as predictable as it comes, a 3-run shot, taking the lead back and making it a 6-5 ball game. But for some reason, that still was not enough for Rocco to take out Steven Okert, who continues to be in. A second pitch single brings on another base runner. Steven would finally get an out, and then Rocco made the move. Ronnie Henrique comes into the game and immediately gives up a double to Xander Bogaerts, making it 7-5. Needless to say, the Twins would never come back, losing this game in what is a pivotal stretch at the end of August, heading towards playoff contention. And it's just blasphemous, truly. I like Rocco Baldelli as a Minnesota Twins fan. I think he gets much more hate than he deserves. He's done a good job since he came to Minnesota. But this is inexcusable. I mean, you've got Griffin Jax, one of the best relief pitchers in baseball. But once again, for some reason I don't understand, it's impossible to stretch him to a second inning. I know the game of baseball has changed, but how dominant he's been, and he never gets a look towards that second inning. Or Joan Duran, one of the best closing pitchers in baseball. Well, not a save situation. He pitched last on Sunday. I think he had 6 pitches that day. He can go. But for some reason, the move is Steven Okert. There was at least 4 other guys they could have given the ball that would have had better results. And I don't want to not blame Steven whatsoever, because obviously he's not been good this year. That's his own fault, right? But putting him in that situation is just a losing battle. And as I continue to stress, there's no more important time than right now to win these games. These are 2 back-to-back losses against a good team in San Diego, but Cleveland, they're still there. They still have the lead in the Central. The Kansas City Royals, who we've led them for a while now, they've now overtaken second place in the Central. And we're hanging on to that 3rd wild card spot, just hoping that Boston doesn't get hot, that Seattle doesn't figure out how to swing a baseball bat, because then we're truly going to be in trouble, especially when we have Cleveland for a 4-game set heading very soon. Then we have Boston. Tough games that when we lose these, which are very much within our reach, it's beyond frustrating. And it's just sickening to watch. So, yeah, I guess that's it. Let's figure this shit out there, Rocco.